I love it. I don't care. It's awesome.
What's up, everybody? This is Danny Thompson with Beyond the Buzzer. We're live here on Single Television I-95, Facebook Live, YouTube, and wherever you can hear the sound of my voice. I'm checking into you live from the place where is a great night in Charlotte, North Carolina. And to the right on the screen, you know him, the student of the game himself, Mr. Kyle Nash. How you doing, sir?
Hey, listen, I'm doing great. You popped in just before the show started, and I know why. Has nothing to do with the lottery. He's looking so fresh and so clean again. He came from the bathtub, ladies and gentlemen. Let's call that what it is.
Listen, right now, you and your LA, even if LA Broadus is in the chat, he can't even ruin my mood right now. So, yes, and you know what, I'm going to get to that in a second.
So fresh and so clean ruins your mood? I don't know.
No. I'm talking jokes-wise. You can throw the jokes out there, but I'm feeling it right now. So,
okay. So you obviously haven't watched the 2023 Super Bowl lately. Okay, gotcha.
I still haven't watched it since the day it happened. I haven't watched it years later. All right, so for those who never watched the show for the next 1 hour, myself and Kyle will talk about all things sports with a little bit of humor behind it, and also take some of your comments on the screen. As you see, my main man, Jonathan Goldsmith. Yes, we will get some of the NBA draft in just one moment. Also, let's give some shout outs to our good friends over at Valor, which is itsvalour.us. If you don't know the company name, you see it on the corner right above Kyle. You'll see the words that says Valor. Also, if you're on Facebook Live and on YouTube, and you want to leave a comment like Jonathan just left in the chat, by all means, leave it on there so that way we can see it, and we'll post it on air. No problem. All right, so. Also, big shout out to our good friends at Mentality Barbershop, 2611 Pine Hills Road out in Orlando, Florida. My main man, Corey Lamar, Dio, Lisa, and the entire crew over at the shop. They'll take care of you looking for a haircut in Central Florida. All right, Kyle, before we get started, what are we sipping on tonight, sir?
Well, tonight this is the Boegen's 407 pills. I mean, you're in the Carolinas now, as they say down south. The Carolinas. I'm still at the 407, drinking my beer and dealing with, life as a distant learning teacher.
Listen, big shouts to all the parents across the country who are either doing distance learning or going through the distance learning process. Listen, I understand you. Yeah. If you don't drink beer, grab a glass of wine, do something, because you understand what teachers go through on a daily basis. All right, so let's get
some root beer. You deserve it.
Exactly. So in our first top segment of the show, we always do what we call "What's the Buzz." All right, so you know what? Normally I would go somewhere, but since tonight is buzzing in Charlotte, let's talk about what just happened with the NBA draft lottery. For those keeping track at home, the NBA draft lottery just took place out in all the parts across the country. Why do you say that? Normally, when it comes to the NBA draft lottery, it's done in Secaucus, New Jersey, in front of a whole bunch of people and a few media folks here and there. But this year, because we're dealing with COVID, everything's a little bit different. So this year's NBA draft lottery was done virtually. Everybody was around with their different signs, letters, different things to keep them good luck. The Golden State Warriors and the Minnesota Timberwolves had shared some of the top odds to get a top overall pick. All the teams that did not make the playoffs were eligible for the lottery. All right, so why am I on the show excited tonight? Well, the Minnesota Timberwolves did win the lottery. So the Timberwolves, who acquired D'Angelo Russell, will be picking with the first pick in this year's draft. Now, mind you, draft possibly talk about in a minute about who's going to be in the draft class. All right, number 2, the Golden State Warriors, the team with the worst record in the NBA, who will also get back Klay Thompson and Steph Curry next year, will be picking with the second pick in the draft. But for the first time since 1992, the Charlotte Hornets will be picking in the top 3. Now, and they actually moved up to get to the top 3. The last time they did pick in the top 3 was Michael Kidd-Gilchrist back in I'm going to call the ill-fated 2012 draft, which was I call the fixed draft. All right, the Hornets will be picking at 3. Yes, it was fixed. I'll get you want me to break that theory down? I will. All right. The Chicago Bulls will be picking at 4, and the Cleveland Cavaliers will be picking at 5. All right, so those are the top 5 teams in the draft. The team that got hurt the most, the New York Knicks, by the way, fell all the way down to number 8.
Good God.
You feel bad for the Knicks at this point. Like you can't win correctly, and you can't win the lottery correctly. That's all I'm saying. All right. I wanted to get the draft lottery out the way because otherwise, if the Hornets weren't picking in the top 3, we wouldn't be talking about this to start the show. All right. All right. The Hornets and the Chicago Bulls were the two teams that were not in the top four, and they leapfrog. So for the second consecutive year, a team that was not with one of the three worst records in the league jumped into a top three pick. The New Orleans Pelicans did last year when they leapfrogged from number 8 to number 1 to draft Zion Williamson. So real quickly, what's the prize of this draft? Well, no one knows. Why? Because there's not a consensus number 1 this year. You ask some experts. For me, LaMelo Ball, which is the brother of Lonzo Ball, which is the other brother of LiAngelo Ball, which is the son of LeVar Ball, which is not related to basketball, has the most upside in this class. LaMelo Ball spent last season in Australia, not playing professional overseas in Australia. What you will know about LaMelo Ball is he's the most talented, has the biggest upside of all three Ball brothers. He's
and
also the tallest.
Ball talking about all that.
Yes. He has the most upside of all the players in the draft. He really is superly talented. All right. Number 2, the second best player in the draft, or the guy who's the most NBA ready, not the most talented, the most NBA ready, will be Georgia shooting guard Anthony Edwards. Now, Kyle, you say you've never seen Anthony Edwards play, so let me give you a quick comparison of who he reminds me of.
You're right.
So if you ever want to remember who Anthony Edwards is, he is a version of a poor man's version of Dwayne Wade. Super athletic, is a 3-level scorer, loves to get to the rim, and can finish with both hands. Another type of player you would see Anthony Edwards be compared to in a lot of cases is a guy like Victor, maybe a poor man's Victor Oladipo a little bit of the Indiana Pacers, but he has tremendous upside. Okay, he's a scorer. Questionable moments, it has become a defense. The third best player in the draft is James Wiseman, center from the University of Memphis. Would have been probably consensus number 1 overall pick. Problem was he only played 3 games because he was basically considered academically eligible because he took money from a booster, which was otherwise known as Penny Hardaway, in high school before Penny was even involved with the University of Memphis. The NCAA said, "See you later," and we tried to make him pay $12,000 back. Now, mind you, the money he was receiving was to help him move from one part of the state of Tennessee to another part of the state where Penny was part of his AAU team at the time, was not coaching college. Well, that's what happened. Those are the top 3 picks in the draft. We'll spend more time talking about the NBA lottery as we get closer to the October NBA draft. But the good news is the Hornets are picking 3rd. All right. There is no shade area. Now, Cortland, what I did say about Victor Oladipo being close to Dwayne Wade is there's a lot of similarities in their game.
Dude, poor man's Wade, Cortland. Listen, I'm going to get my host back on this. Cortland, I love you coming in and being critical. But listen to the man talk. He said poor man's D Wade. That's why he talked down and said Oladipo. He agrees with you, Cortland. It's all good.
Nah, that's my main man, Cortland Griffith over at the 3-point conversion. By the way, check out Yes, check out our article we wrote about the WNBA earlier on this week, giving midseason awards. And you can always try to figure out how bad my takes are. Once again, Cortland's a great guy, part of the 3-point conversion family, by the way. All right, so since we're now finished talking about the NBA draft lottery, I'm probably buzzing the rest of the night. Ha 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 ha! I'll be buzzing the rest of the night. All right, let's
go ahead and buzz. If you keep it up, I'll have a 3rd beer, and then we'll both be buzzing. Moving on.
Hey, listen, 3rd beer, 3rd overall pick. I love it. All right, we'll continue. Exactly. Buzz, baby. All right, so let's continue on what's going on in the NBA draft bubble. All right, I know right now it's about 9-10 Eastern time on Thursday night, and I know a lot of people are wanting to watch the Lakers and the Blazers. I think me and Kyle are one of them as well, too. All right, here's what you do. For the next 51 minutes, put the game on mute because who wants to listen to announcers? Listen to us, watch the game at the same time. The Lakers are in serious trouble tonight. If they go down 0-2, there is no home court advantage in this series. What it is a Damian Lillard advantage. Because Damian Lillard plays for the Blazers and he doesn't play for the Lakers. The Lakers are in serious trouble right now, down 1-0 after really seriously blowing the game on opening in the first game of the first round. Why do you say you blew it? Well, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Alex Caruso, and Danny Green shot a grand total of 5 of 25. We're not going to talk about LeBron. LeBron James had 23 points, 17 rebounds, and 15 assists. You can't blame him for doing that.
But they're going to.
Of course. Anthony Davis had 21 of his 28 points in the first half and went a disappearing act with 7 points in the second half. The Lakers shot 5 of 32, and guess what? The Blazers won game one, scoring 101 points, Kyle. Here's the part about it. That was the lowest point total the Blazers have scored in a victory this season.
I mean, that is the bright side, I suppose.
Yeah, you can score 100 points and beat the Lakers and not play your best offensive game. Listen, the Lakers have had issues with scoring off the bench. They're going to have issues again scoring tonight. Here's the real question. What is Anthony Davis going to do to bounce back? Yeah, we could talk about the missed free throws. Him and LeBron and AD missed 4 free throws midway through the fourth quarter, which could change the complexion of the game. But when your starting backcourt literally does not hit a shot, in case Kentavious Caldwell-Pope scores a grand total of 1 point in 30 minutes, I'm not trying to hear any excuses. Other games going on in the bubble today, the Orlando Magic, well, they did what the Orlando Magic does best. They started the game cold. They somehow tried to fight their way back into it and ran out of energy. The Bucks took care of business today. A few minutes ago, I think it was 111-96 to tie the series at 1 game apiece. The Magic really shot themselves out of the game to start the game, Kyle. They missed 14 of their first 15 3-pointers in the game. You're not going to win shooting that way. It is what it is.
Vooch wasn't going to have the night he had in game 2 like he did in game 1. And they need that to balance out the cold streaks in shooting. I mean, hell, even T-Ross made some shots in game 1, something we had struggled to see throughout the regular season when he was still around. And all that went completely cold. For you Knicks fans out there, it's John Starks all over again. I said it.
The only problem is this is game 2 of the playoffs, not game 7 of the NBA Finals. But good comparison. In the other games today, in the Jimmy Butler Invitational, the Miami Heat took care of the Indiana Pacers to go up 2-0. All right, long story short in this one, the Heat were dominating a franchise record 18 3-pointers for the club today, and they took care of business 109-100 against the Pacers today. Yes, it's danger zone, and guess what, NBA? The Heat are really good.
Danger zone.
Yeah, Milwaukee might want to pay attention because if Miami ends this series early, that's nothing but rest and time to build for Giannis. All right, other game.
I feel like with Miami, that's the rest is going to disserve them. I think they're a group that kind of rides that heat wave, your pardon expression.
Listen, the Heat are on fire right now. 18 3-pointers, and Duncan Robinson, I think, tied the NBA playoff record. I think he knocked down his first 7 threes. He finished knocking down threes. He's still shooting threes. He's on fire, NBA Jam style. All right, last game of the day. The Houston Rockets are now up 2-0 with Oklahoma City Thunder, and Russell Westbrook has played 0 minutes in this series. None. Russell Westbrook literally coached his team to victory. If you didn't watch the game, go back and watch the highlights. All you saw was Russell Westbrook coaching, cheerleading. He did everything. The only thing Russell Westbrook didn't do besides play was be the mascot.
Yeah, I love this resurgence from Westbrook, man. I mean, I don't mean to cut you off, Danny. I'm sorry, but I got to tell you, I didn't think that the Rockets were going to come out without him and win both these games. Huge.
And here's the crazier part about this. Game 1, James Harden had 37 points. So that's something you expect from James Harden.
Because
Harden was horrible for the majority of the game. He was horrible, but he did score. I think 11 of his 21 points in the fourth quarter. Harden had 10 points the majority of this game and was 3 for 14 at one point. But in the fourth quarter, Harden stepped back, Harden blocks. Harden does what Harden does best in the fourth quarter. 11 of 21 in the fourth quarter. Rockets up 2-0. And I'm sorry, Oklahoma City, this might not be much longer, this series, the way they're going.
Hey, the Game 3 made the playoffs was surprising to me, so I'll give them that much credit.
That's the one thing, but you did not want to see the Thunder play this in the first 2 games, especially against a team that doesn't have size, and you're letting the Rockets actually rebound, not out-rebound you, but actually keep up in the rebounding game when your centers are 6'5", PJ Tucker, Jeff Green, and Robert Covington. All right. What's going on in the NBA tomorrow? Now tomorrow starts the Game 3s. So the teams that play on Friday will play Game 4 on Sunday. Game 3s for these series will be on – for the ones playing today will be on Saturday. All right. Game 3, Oklahoma City. No, yeah, Game 3 will be Oklahoma City, Rod. You're completely correct. So what they're going to do is when you watch the game on television, you'll see Thunder stuff on the side, and you'll see the fans from the Ultimate Courtside series be Thunder fans. Until we see a mascot and a change of arenas, it's still going to be status quo. All right. Games going on tomorrow. The Toronto Raptors and the Brooklyn Nets are just going to play this series out. Joe Harris has left the team for the Nets due to an unnamed non-health emergency, aka
Mikey.
AKA, this series will be over by Sunday, so let me clear the bricks out before Sunday. Joe Harris is not available for tomorrow. I don't think he's returned. And even if he did return tomorrow, there's a slight likelihood he won't be playing Sunday. Well, be honest with you, the Nets won't be playing past Sunday anyway. The Raptors should probably sweep the series anyway. The Denver Nuggets and Utah Jazz are now tied at 1 in their series, but the biggest story besides Mike Conley returning on Wednesday was something that didn't happen in either game. Now, mind you, it's been a great week for the Charlotte Hornets, but then it turned to be a bad week for the Charlotte Hornets at the same time. Play-by-play announcer John Falk has been indefinitely suspended by the Hornets and probably will lose his job sometime in the very near future, because instead of tweeting out the words Jazz and Nuggets, he tweeted out the words Jazz and a word that you don't want to use on social media. They got screenshotted and posted everywhere.
What the?
Yeah. Yeah, wait. He could have said what the, and why he got away with it. You don't confuse two letters that are right beside the alphabet on a computer, or even on a computer or any type of typing device. And when the word is Nuggets, and it wasn't the U he used. That's all I'm going to say.
If the autocorrect did that to him, he used it too much already. That's all I'm saying, Danny Thompson.
Listen.
Side note, what was this media member's name again?
He was a play-by-play announcer for the Charlotte Hornets, John Falk.
What the fuck happened there?
Listen, he was probably thinking the same thing as he knows his check is going flying out the window. Game 3 of the Sixers and the Celtics. Well, let's say the Sixers fans, you got 48 minutes to save your season. Brett Brown has 48 minutes to save his job, because if the Sixers go down 0-3, Brett Brown will be looking for a new job pretty soon.
Yeah, if they can't do it with Gordon Hayward out, I don't know how they're going to do it.
Listen, they might want to call the ghost of Moses Malone, Maurice Cheeks, Andrew Toney, Charles Barkley, Wilt Chamberlain, Allen Iverson. They better call somebody.
He's still alive. Chuck is still around, Danny Thompson.
Listen, they might want to call Rocky Balboa, Randall Cunningham. They might want to call Bobby Clark, Eric Lindros. They better find somebody. Brian Dawkins. The Sixers better find some kind of toughness, because they've been getting wore out in the series.
Whatever.
They can go find Clyde Simmons, Reggie White. They better find somebody to find some toughness. Otherwise, the Sixers will be bouncing by Sunday.
That's right. I mentioned the Flyers goalie in there. What about it?
Throw Ron Hextall in there too. All right, go get the Broad Street Bullies. They better figure out something, because they're getting bullied around. And I know Joel Embiid says he's doing everything he can. There's nothing much more he can do. 30 points and 14 rebounds. But you have Al Horford and Tobias Harris scoring combined 17 points, and they're making almost on their wages almost $300 million in the books. That's a problem.
Get Ron Jaworski. I don't know.
Listen, you better call somebody. All right, last game of the day on tomorrow will be Clippers and the Dallas Mavericks. Let's be honest, if Kristaps Porzingis doesn't get thrown out for something, a ticky-tack ejection in game 1, the Clippers will be down 0-2. Because guess what? Luka Doncic scores 42 points but had 11 turnovers in game 1. Game 2, Luka Doncic had 28 points, 1 turnover. What was the major difference? Patrick Beverley was out, and guess what? The Dallas Mavericks was knocking down threes. There was one point in the game, Kyle, if you watched it, Doc Rivers looked at his son-in-law, which is Seth Curry of the Mavericks, like, what are you doing getting all these three-pointers against your father-in-law's team?
Why you got to do this against me, bro? What? Listen. I did this on Monday talking to our good friend Chris Pirtle. I feel like that, the Mavericks were being slept on, and they had that chance. I don't want to say puncher's chance, because I really don't feel like there's an answer for them on the perimeter. The Clippers, they had a lot of depth there playing against the Mavericks, but I don't see how they can combat Porzingis and Luka. How do you do that?
Well, good news for Lakers fans. Breaking news. Our man Cortland Griffin, who's in the chat, just posted that KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, has scored 6 times more points in 20 seconds than he scored in all 29 minutes in game 1.
That's called a rally, baby. Woo!
That's called actually looking at the rim. Dallas home. Listen. The Dallas crowd, sponsored by Michelob Ultra, will be rocking. All right.
Hey. You leave Michelob Ultra alone, you son of a. Okay.
Listen, I'm not talking bad about the beer. They're sponsoring courtside. Listen, I better see a mascot. I better see Mark Cuban. I better see Troy Aikman, Tony Romo. Throw some Emmitt Smith out there. Just don't throw the manager of the Texas Rangers, because he might think it's an unwritten rule to cheer for a playoff game.
Here he goes. He's going after.
Don't worry, I'll get
already.
I'll get to that in just one moment. All right. So that's your NBA playoff update. Like I said, Mike Conley is back in the bubble for the Utah Jazz. That's the good news. The Jazz will get their point guard back, and the only down the series is split. The Jazz will take Game 3 tomorrow with Mike Conley in the lineup. That could be an interesting change in pace. The Nuggets have got to get it together. Bill Simmons says Luka makes the right passes.
Bill Simmons doesn't say nothing on this show because he's so boring. Even PBS said his HBO show was boring. Okay, next. I said it. What, Danny Thompson? I'm throwing that shit at Bill Simmons, stealing your money.
Listen, he ain't stealing my money.
Yeah, he is.
All right. Whose money?
Bill Simmons.
Okay, yeah.
The fact that Bill Simmons is getting money, he's stealing it from somebody who's deserving. I just put your name on it.
Oh, okay. I'm about to say because I ain't paying for HBO. All right. We've talked NBA. We talked the NBA draft lottery. We talked the bubble, what's going on in the bubble. Like I said, we talked about head coaches being fired, and we talked about the NBA lottery. Like I said, I'll be talking lottery probably until we get to draft night. All right. Other news in the NBA. Speaking of the teams that are not in the bubble, it was announced on Tuesday night that the 8 teams involved in the bubble, not in the bubble, will be able to practice. Yay! So what does that mean? No, they're not getting together in Chicago. I don't think who wants to meet in Chicago this time of year anyway. No offense, Chicago. And listen, I'm not sure of that. All right. But the 8 teams are allowed to meet starting on September 14th in what we call a training camp of sorts. Danny steals cable. No, the Panthers steal fans. But I will continue to do this very further. All right. Steal cable.
Yeah, he doesn't steal it. He liberates it. Anyways.
No. Clemson steals talent from other teams. We'll continue with this. Clemson still won't steal the ACC this year. We'll continue this.
All right. Hey, listen. They're going to win the ACC. It's because they're playing a bunch of 8th graders. Moving on.
Listen, they'll win the ACC, but they won't win against Notre Dame.
I can't do that.
Notre Dame's not the ACC.
I'm looking. Well, they are this year.
No, they're not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Notre Dame is as much as the ACC as the changing of the Aunt Vivs on Fresh Prince.
Listen, all I'm trying to tell you is this: I'm waiting for that window to pop up and Bobby be like, Notre Dame's still going to win that game. I'm waiting for that. I have to be honest. I'm still looking for Bobby.
The Falcons still crowd noise.
He's really not Danny Thompson. He's not wrong.
It hasn't been proven. That's all I'm saying. All right. As we digress, unfortunately, because
Rodney, they didn't steal it. They misinterpreted the rules. Okay.
Speaking of misinterpreting rules, you know what? Let's talk about unwritten rules, since Rodney wants to talk about unwritten rules when it comes to crowd noise. This week in Major League Baseball, we've had an issue with unwritten rules. For those who don't watch Major League Baseball, Kyle, we're gonna have a little fun with this. There's a thing called unwritten rules and things you're not supposed to do in baseball. We don't make up national championships. We just win real ones. Kyle, that's a shot towards you.
I mean, if he has trouble reading the history books, I ain't got no problem with that. You do.
I mean, he went to Clemson.
Hashtag him problem.
Hashtag they can't beat Carolina in basketball. All right, but still. No. All right, so unwritten baseball rules.
He's taking shots at me. The 49ers made it to the Super Bowl. Where he's been, I don't know.
I don't know. You tell me. Madden 21. Well, for those who want their football teams to win, Madden 21 just released this evening. For those who have EA access on the Xbox, it's downloadable as of right now. I'm waiting on my Xbox to finish downloading. That way, Rodney can carry his Carolina Panthers to a 500 record. All right. So back to what we call unwritten baseball rules. So Kyle, there is a set of things that are not communicated, but supposed to be communicated in the sport of baseball called unwritten rules. Well, earlier on this week, Fernando Tatis Jr., whose father hit 2 grand slams in the same inning in the same game, hit a grand slam in the middle of a 10-3 game on a 3-0 count. Kyle, when you first saw this, what were your thoughts about this?
Listen, man, you're asking me to comment on baseball. That ain't my house, dog. That's all I'm going to say.
Don't worry, it's 80% of America, but still. Okay. So, Kyle, the rule is if you're up by 7 runs in the game.
Yeah, exactly.
You're supposed to
throttle back. I know that.
You're not technically supposed to swing on a 3-0 count. Right. But I'm from the school of if your pitcher allows it to be a 3-0 count, one of two things is supposed to happen. Either A, you walk the run in because you don't want to face him. We've seen Barry Bonds get walked with the bases loaded before because teams didn't want to face him.
Correct.
All right. Or you don't get yourself in a 3-0 hole. You actually throw the ball down the center of the plate.
What?
I know. Cortland, you know what? Speaking of that, on 3pointconversion.com, Cortland Griffin does have an article. He's the MLB. He's one of our MLB writers over at 3-Point Conversion. We'll go into more of the art of the unwritten rule tomorrow. I'm just talking about this one, the two ones that were breaking this week, but Cortland's going to go into further detail. Check it out. It should be up around lunchtime tomorrow.
The 3pointconversion.com. My dude did shameless plugs on how it's done. Props to you, Cortland. Do the thing.
Exactly. Like I said, check it out tomorrow. It should be up right around lunchtime. So if you have a chance to eat lunch in the Eastern time zone, take a couple minutes and check it out. Especially you'll learn something about unwritten baseball rules because half of baseball doesn't know about unwritten baseball rules. So, by the unwritten rule, which no one knows about, you're not supposed to swing on a 3-0 count. Once again, don't get down 3-0 on a count. Number two.
That's not. Let me ask you this, because I did play baseball for a short time. I know. Don't judge me. I'm taking up golf now in the pandemic. Don't judge me for that either. But what I'm trying to tell you is
it's a sport, no contact.
It's a game, not a sport. Details. But what I'm trying to tell you is this, Danny Thompson, is I was always taught that it wasn't necessarily about insults or anything. It's about good strategy. Hey, listen. Sit back and see if you can get your free base before you do something stupid and then foul a ball off and end up being an out. Now, granted, I was a pretty garbage hitter in my day, so, that may have been what the coach told me what he told me. But that –
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Continue.
I was done. Let's just say that's the first time I've made a baseball joke ever on a recorded show. There you go, Danny Thompson. You're welcome.
Listen, Lob City alley-oop. All right, so here's the other part about it. You're right. If it's a 3-0 count and a guy can't hit the baseball, maybe you take the pitch. You're going against a guy who is tied for the league leading home runs.
That's not me.
And then you throw a 94-mile-an-hour fastball down the center of the plate, and you expect him not to swing at it?
Duh.
So Tatis hits one, and they're playing in Texas. The game's in Arlington, the ball landed in Austin. That's how far you hit it. All right. You do not throw a ball down the center of the plate 3-0. I don't care what the score is, what the count is. Pitch better. How about call a game better? Now here's the problem I have.
Here's the problem I have. You have a young daughter who's adorable, Danny Thompson. How about this? Even she knows better than to hand a cookie to Cookie Monster and expect him. She's not going to expect him to not eat it. It's the same thing.
Basically, is this, Kyle? We both have young children. It's like you leaving. It's like you leaving a cookie, for example. Not with the Cookie Monster. It's leaving a cookie with your child and leaving your child unguarded and expect the child not to eat the cookie.
I mean, listen, my daughter would try to negotiate. If I don't eat the cookie, can I have 3 later? So I can't use that example. So
listen, that's like basically what you're doing is she's negotiating the pitch count here. Strike one, true. She's going to make an offer. Strike two, she's going to take a pitch. She's going to wait to see what the offer is coming back from you. And if she doesn't get the offer she wants on 3-0, she's going to eat the cookie.
No.
And that cookie's gone. So what did Mr. Tatis do on the next day? Well, it just so happens the next day, the Padres, who won that game eventually, the next day were playing the Rangers for a second day in a row, and they were up 6-0 in the second inning, where Fernando Tatis was on second base, a runner at first and second, up 6-0. He decides to steal third base on the pitcher who attempted to hit Manny Machado the day before. He was safe. Managers were upset. So basically, Fernando Tatis, a 24-hour rule, decided to basically break protocol twice of unwritten rules. For those who want to know more about unwritten rules, like I said, check out 3-Point Conversions, Cortland Griffin's article tomorrow, more about it. And he'll give you more details on things about what's considered unwritten rules of baseball. It's like ask a day for a sports take and not expecting a bad one. Rodney, listen, once again, it's like expecting Clemson not to buy football players. We'll continue with this today.
Hey, wait a minute. Clemson is in the SEC. Settle down.
How do you think Clemson gets talent from Georgia? It ain't textiles.
I just wanted to make the SEC joke, Danny Thompson. Let me have that one.
Clemson thinks they're in the SEC.
They want to be in the SEC. Come on, guys, we're good.
They take players like it's the SEC.
Hey, listen, I want to look better on my highlight film playing against such juggernauts as BC and Wake Forest. Woo!
I mean, listen, you got to beat the Citadel somehow. All right. We're going to go and break here on Beyond the Buzzer here on Zingo TV, I-95, Facebook Live, YouTube, and everywhere else you can hear our voice. We'll take about a 45-second break, and when Kyle and I get back, we're not talking urban baseball rules, but we are talking about the good old National Football League, and Notre Dame has some issues on campus right now. I don't mean football related. We'll be back in about 45 seconds here on Beyond the Buzzer. We are back for Beyond the Buzzer here on Zingo Television, I-95, and Facebook Live. I'm your host, Dane Thompson, checking with you live tonight here on this wonderful Thursday night with my main man, the student of the game from the three-point conversion. Yes, the three-point conversion, my main man. And also, if this was a tag team, if I'm the quarterback, he is my left tackle, my main man, Kyle Nash.
All right, listen, just make sure you don't roll until you have 2 seconds to look down the field.
Listen, no. See, the thing is, you're a Hall of Fame left tackle. So you made me a Hall of Fame quarterback by protecting me. See how this works?
This guy. Listen, the primary elections were yesterday. You can't get my vote now, Danny Thompson.
Listen, I'm not the pollsters, so I don't need your vote in this one. All right, so speaking of polls, speaking of college football, let's jump into college football real quick, Kyle. So what's going on at Notre Dame? Besides the fact of joining the ACC, Notre Dame has an issue with COVID-19. All right, 5 players were found out to have COVID-19 for the Notre Dame football team. Guess what? We're now a month away from college football season. Players are contracting COVID once again.
Well, we're down to 3 more of it too. Keep going. I'll let you finish with that, but I want to make that point later. Oh,
no, because I'm going to set you up for this one. Now another team has an outbreak of COVID. We've already had Oklahoma had to shut down practice. Notre Dame's the next one. Notre Dame is one of the most well-known colleges in the country, Kyle. We got players with COVID, and we're a month away from the season. Kyle, up and go. Take the ball and score in the end zone, sir. It's all yours.
Listen, yeah, and this isn't going to be the last of it. Here's the thing, and actually, I listened into Coach Josh Heupel of UCF from his press conference today, and what I can tell you is this: he alluded to the fact that a lot of the COVID cases in UCF's camp, and I think this extends to camps nationwide. Excuse me, the guys who had brought COVID. Who had been COVID cases are the ones that brought it onto the campus when they arrived for the first time. Like, just like with the NBA bubble. A lot of those guys who reported having COVID when everybody thought the NBA bubble would be a disaster, it's the ones that brought it in when they got there for the first time. Same thing with a lot of the other sports bubbles. It's from teams that brought it in there for the first time. You're going to see more and more instances like this, such as you did with Notre Dame, as campuses across the country start to ramp up arrivals, not just of athletes, mind you, but students on campus. Now, one thing that is also true is a lot of campuses are going virtual only. In those instances where the athletes are the one on campus, the risk will obviously be reduced. But for campuses that are going full bore, bringing everyone back, you're going to see instances like that. Now, I don't know if this is something you'll see more in private universities, a la Notre Dame versus state-run ones, et cetera, but I am not a guard, you son of a. My footwork is way too good. If you knew anything about tackles with good footwork, maybe Cam Newton wouldn't have to run for his life all the time and be so injured that he got shipped. Own that, Rodney. Moving on. So, talking about me being a guy, I don't know what the heck wrong with you. Anyway.
Probably call that one, sir.
See, listen, I'm the fastest 300-pounder he knows, and I could say that for a fact. Moving on. But even at age 41, by the way. Moving on. So,
Listen, I'm just letting you go.
I don't smoke. It's okay. It happens. I've had a lot of beer. Settle down, Rodney. I could probably still have it. Anyways, so I'm getting myself in trouble tonight. That's okay.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Rodney,
take those alley-oops.
Yeah, exactly. Rodney, listen, man, I'm having a lot of fun with you tonight. Keep it coming, brother. But yeah, we're going to see this more, I think, as more and more campuses open up. I don't know if it's going to be different on private campuses versus air quotes public ones that are state run. But I think Josh Heupel had a point when he alluded to the fact that those first timers are the biggest threat when they're coming onto campus.
And that's really the big story. Is that the more it's going to happen a lot more when students come back to campus. The University of North Carolina, for example, had an outbreak of COVID, and the students are not going to be showing up at campus in the near future. Right. Universities like Winston-Salem State are going through it as well too, as well as multiple schools in the state of North Carolina that have had outbreaks of COVID. And the question is, if you're a player, once again, are you willing to risk what's going on? I know you want to play football. I get it. But is it really worth it? That's really up to the players at this point. The universities that are still playing have already made their decisions, and you've already seen their thoughts on it. Right. It's really how can Notre Dame bounce back from it. If they get through the COVID cases, everybody is fine. It is what it is. But if more players contract COVID, or you have a serious COVID case, because some of these symptoms, Kyle, as we learned with the Magic's Mohamed Mobamba, it doesn't go away. You might not contextually have COVID, but you still can have the symptoms that are still lingering weeks after having it.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, even beyond Mobamba, there are instances out there. At the end of the day, people don't know.
Hold on, go ahead and finish your point. I'll take this one. I'll take that one. Go ahead and finish your point.
Oh, I'll say mine. I'd love to block for you if that's the case, Rodney. Moving on. But I'll put it this way. If it's not just in Mobamba, there are situations we don't know. The CDC doesn't know what the lasting effects of COVID-19 are. It's a good point by you, Danny.
Yes, and Jerome Bettis can probably outrun Rodney in a 40 time right now.
I mean, listen, he's Jerome Bettis. The bus travels, baby. What you want? Right?
Jerome Bettis at his current age right now.
Oh, man, listen. He's going to be listen. He's right back.
Listen, listen. I'll put some smoked briskets that Rodney will get smoked in a 300-pound race. Like I said, I'll put some smoked brisket on the line, some smoked tiger. A smoked tiger. How about that?
A smoked tiger? Do you have an idea how hard that is to get a hold of?
Listen, how hard is it for Clemson to play a real team in the regular season? All right, but we'll continue. All right. In other news, we'll continue with other news. We'll talk Major League Baseball for about 30 seconds. Well, speaking of COVID, the COVID has taken another baseball game away as the New York Mets will postpone their game against the Florida Marlins and the New York Yankees because a player and a coach contracted COVID. Like, baseball is not missing enough games as it is. The Mets will be out for the next couple of games because they have to deal with COVID. Woo! Baseball is just going to be baseball. All right, Kyle, let's go to a sport that is not baseball. Let's talk about the National Football League. Dun, 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 dun. All right. So, yes, exactly. Let's talk about the players in the NFL, Kyle, this year. There's a lot of players that have a lot of things going on in the NFL this year. And some of the things, and we'll go over a couple players, who has the most and who has the most to gain or lose in the 2020 season. Our good friend Bill Barnwell of ESPN had an article today listing some of the players that he feels is going to be on that list this year, Kyle. So let's start with the elephant in the room, the first part of the list. He has Dak Prescott of the Dallas Cowboys that has the most to gain and the most to lose in 2020. Do you agree with him being the number one player on this list?
No, I mean, that's a great point. I think that Dak Prescott is in the place that Kirk Cousins was this time about 3 or 4 seasons ago, right? He's trying to fight for that big contract with the coaching change that took place in Dallas. You got Mike McCarthy in there now. Mike McCarthy is saying, hey, listen, I've heard rumors that the coaching was the problem as to why you didn't succeed like you should have, Dak Prescott. If you can't succeed under me, it wasn't Jason Garrett. And you can clap about that all you want.
I agree with Bill. To your point, I agree with Bill on this one. Listen, if Dak Prescott has a extremely big year, which could happen,
Yeah.
Dallas then threw himself out the market, and at that point, he might be getting Pat Mahomes money because he's going to force it. Now, when I say Pat Mahomes money, it's not the whole length of the deal, but Kyle, you think most of Pat Mahomes' money comes at the back end of the deal. You go into 2027, he's making $49 million in 2027.
You're leaving out the incentives too. That's a big factor as well.
But I'm not talking about what Dak Prescott's going to make in the long term. But because Prescott's one of those guys who's thinking kind of like a Kevin Durant, thinking like LeBron James. I sign cheap, sign for a minimum number, a small number of years, and have a chance to go back out there and get more money again. Kyle, if he has a big year, even better year than he had last year, which was really good last year for what he did, 4 years at $160 million with $100 million guaranteed. I don't think that's out the realm. That $40 million per season will exceed Patrick Mahomes' $35 million over those same 4 years.
If Prescott has the cojones to outbid Patrick Mahomes, I think that's going to cut Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is a guy that negotiates at the table with emotion just as much as business. And I think if you go after him like that at the negotiating table, he's not going to find himself in Dallas anymore. And listen, there's a reason why you have the red rifle there backing him up. And doing that is in the event that Prescott's gone, they have a guy who has had some success starting in the NFL.
But Kyle, here's a question: what if Dak Prescott gets the Cowboys to the Super Bowl? Does Jerry Jones get rid of him?
If they get to the Super Bowl, would it be Dak Prescott that got them there? Would he be a Joe Flacco type? Would he be go ahead.
Okay, here's my scenario. Prescott puts up similar numbers, identical numbers, but just a tad bit better than the numbers he had this year. Cowboys make the Super Bowl. Does Jerry Jones have to open the checkbook up?
If he wants to keep Dak, he'll have to. But I don't think he will, depending on how the negotiation happens. I don't see him getting Mahomes' money. I don't see it.
Second player on the list is New England quarterback Cam Newton.
I was going to list him first ahead of Dak myself because listen, there was no. Thank you, Cortland. You said exactly what I'm getting at. Good call. There's no other player that was as important to their franchise that came out being basically shunned by that franchise that I've seen since Steve McNair with Tennessee. And because that market was basically ground zero. Listen, at the end of the day, Dak Prescott was going to get a franchise deal and make a butt ton of money. Okay. Cam Newton getting cited the contract he did is absolutely ridiculous. Walmart would mark that up as a price, okay? Kmart would mark that. The Goodwill would mark up Cam Newton's contract for what the Patriots did, okay? So because his starting point is so low, obviously, just by extension, he has the most to gain. And if he isn't successful, retirement looms. You can't lose anything more than that. I would just throw that out there.
Cam Newton is like this. Cam Newton has 1 year to prove to the NFL that he's a starting quarterback. If he has a good or an exceptional year, a multi-year deal is coming. Will it come with the Patriots? Not too sure. But somebody will invest in him. If it goes bad, Cam Newton will be a career backup the rest of his career. As if he's in the NFL, he will be a backup going forward.
Or third on the list, starting for a bad team.
He'll be a backup the rest of the year, rest of his career. There's not even the bad teams will wait for a quarterback in the draft before they sign Cam Newton at that point. That is just too much. It's too much personality if he's not getting the work done. It is what it is. Third on the list is Raiders quarterback David Carr. Why is David Carr on this list? Well, Kyle, after this year, he has 2 years at $39.3 million in unguaranteed money, and this team went out and signed Marcus Mariota at $17.5 million over 2 years. Do you agree with David Carr being third on the quarterback list?
I don't think he has much to gain, honestly. That's the only reason I don't agree with it. He has a lot to lose. He could become a career backup after this. That's accurate. But what did he have to gain?
Well, the fact of 2 years at $39.3 million in guaranteed money is unguaranteed money. This money's not even guaranteed. Or Cam will go to the CFL, win 3 Grey Cups. Hey, listen.
I'm not going to rule that out, BP, but damn.
But hey, listen, but this will help his Hall of Fame case because there's only one other quarterback. There's been not one quarterback that's been an NFL MVP and a CFL MVP in his career either. Cam Newton could be the first. Sure. Just saying. Number 4 on the list is Baker Mayfield of the Cleveland Browns. Now, this list is all quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield is number 5 with the most to gain or lose this year. Do you agree with that?
I'll agree with it in Baker's case, yeah, because if he flops with this offensive lineup and an extra playoff spot in the conferences, he's got no answers. The O-line got improved. Their receivers are ridiculously great. I can make a case for Baker Mayfield as he should be ranked higher than even Dak Prescott, who's number 1 on the list. I could make that case, okay? But in a division where, listen, you got the Ravens. I get it. They're going to be phenomenal. The Steelers are on their way down. I don't have confidence in Big Ben this season, even though I dig him as a quarterback. I have no confidence in the Bengals, even though I think if Joe Burrow had a full preseason, he'd be better than he's going to be, but he's going to get lamb-basted. Listen, I've met this kid. I dig this kid, but his situation stinks. I don't trust Cincinnati this season, and it's not his fault. And with,
Cleveland.
Cincinnati, I mean, with Joe Burrow.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm talking the division. So if Baker can't overcome all that, he's basically got one significant opponent, in my opinion. If he can't split with the Steelers, if he can't sweep the Bengals, I can't help him at this point.
We'll continue with the quarterback list. At number 5 is, in my opinion, Baker Mayfield is this.
VP's got it right there in that comment, succinctly put. I was just trying to be more dramatic.
It's like this. If Baker Mayfield flops this year, he'll join the impressive list. These lists are first-round quarterbacks in the NFL who didn't last, Kyle. We'll continue. Josh Rosen, Mitchell Trubisky, Paxton Lynch, Johnny Manziel, E.J. Manuel, Robert Griffin III, Brandon Wheaton, Jake Locker, Blaine Gabbert, Christian Ponder. All those quarterbacks were drafted in the first round since 2011 and didn't make it as a starting quarterback in their second contract. Number 5 on the list is our man Sam Darnold of the New York Jets. This one I don't agree with.
I don't either.
He didn't have an offensive line last year. His best wide receiver, his starting wide receiver in big play threats in Carolina. His running back is Le'Veon Bell, who is still scared of being Bell run because his head coach doesn't want him there either.
Listen, Danny Thompson, we live in a world where many decades ago, I shouldn't say many, a number of decades ago, a young man started out having trouble getting on the field as a member of the Tampa Bay Bucks. He was a backup there even eventually at some point. Left, fell into the hands of a capable coach and an excellent franchise, and found himself to be a Hall of Fame winner that won a Super Bowl at the time, throwing the record in number of touchdown passes in a single Super Bowl.
And that would be who, sir?
I'm asking you if you know. Show the fans.
Let's see. You said quarterback. How long ago was this?
It's going to be about 30 years ago now.
Now 30 years ago?
25 to 30, we'll say.
Did they say he won a Super Bowl? He
did win a Super Bowl.
And came from Tampa.
Started out in Tampa, went to a significantly better franchise with a Hall of Fame and immortal level coach, and ended up throwing the most touchdown passes.
That would be Steve Young. That'll be Steve Young.
How many hits do you need, Danny Thompson? Anyway, Robbie actually stirred me up, and I said, I don't mean to cut you off there. Mono Man, yeah. You know what happened to the Jets when he got back from that disease? They were a much better ball club, Chief. Check your stats. Go ahead, Danny Thompson.
Listen, all I'm saying is this. So other players they had on the list, other positions. We'll talk J.J. Watt. We'll go real quick. We'll do rapid fire. J.J. Watt, Houston Texans.
What the hell does he have to gain? He's an elite level pass rusher next.
He doesn't have a guaranteed contract either.
So someone else is going to sign him in a heartbeat. Teams need pass rushers way too much. If Houston's dumb enough to pass if Houston's dumb enough to pass, I got enough money in my tax return to buy a jersey for the next team he plays for. Next.
Le'Veon Bell, New York Jets.
He's 11 point, hasn't he?
11.5 in unguaranteed money this year. If it goes bad, the Jets will cut him.
Of course.
But then everybody else will sign him and they realize how good he is. Hey, I see a reunion in Pittsburgh.
But not for $11.5 million, they won't. That they have
no.
A point.
Kawan Short of the Carolina Panthers. I agree with this one. KK Short was out the majority of missed 14 games in 2019 with rotator cuff. He had 11 sack season back in 2015, got a 5-year, $80 million contract. Hasn't done much since the deal. He needs this more than anything else because if he's not, that cap number he's gone.
Hey,
All right, Kyle.
Point there. If they'll trade DeAndre Hopkins, they'll trade JJ. That's a good point. Moving on.
Well, here's the thing with JJ Watt. He's in the final year of a contract. It's not guaranteed. The Texans will cut him. It's $17.5 million. If you can't trade him, you cut him. That's all I'm saying. Now you got to find a team that's willing to take on $17.5 million and give up draft picks in return.
By the way, yeah. First of all, this is what Rodney has revealed is he knows precisely nothing about football. Sure, that Brett Favre went to a franchise that improved when he was there. That defense was what did it. Okay, listen, the guy.
It's called Reggie White.
Well, among others, Reggie White, Gilbert Brown, Jerome Butler, who was an excellent safety that no one talks about. They had a pretty good linebacker core as well. On top of all of the above, Brett Favre has the most career interceptions of all time. That's right, I went Kanye on you, Ronnie. About time, okay? Don't hand me Brett Favre. Get that trash out of here.
We'll continue with the love and hate for the NFL players, including going over other positions on Monday's show. I mean, we got to go over it sometime. KK Kawan has been. Listen, he's your guy, not mine. All right. Speaking of what's yours and what's mine, let's transition to our favorite part of the show because this question's mine and Kyle doesn't know it. It's our good old Mount Rushmore segment of the evening. So me and Kyle always basically go through what we call Mount Rushmore. For those who never watched this show and don't understand what Mount Rushmore is, shame on you. I'm disappointed.
Watch the show, damn it.
So what me and Kyle do is we go over some topics we call Mount Rushmore. Sometimes we talk sports, sometimes we talk music, sometimes we talk food, sometimes we talk drinks, or just other topics like we did vacations and cars. What the question is, Kyle doesn't know what the topic is until I give it to him. Basically, it's like joining an offense from a brand new head coach with a quarterback that can barely throw the ball 25 yards down the field. Can you name that NFL team in 2020?
Wow, I'll have to build a bridge over that water. Moving on.
Yeah, a bridge over Lake Norman and also Lake Wiley. All right, well, we'll continue. So, Kyle, speaking of things to build, every time you mentioned this earlier, you want to build a snowman. Well, no, we're not building snowmans this episode of Mount Rushmore tonight, but we are talking about stuff that's frozen. So, Kyle, tonight our Mount Rushmore topic is the Mount Rushmore of frozen foods.
What? Listen, I know you're putting yourself on this, but listen, I know you were talking frozen, but my dude was on fire. Anyway, listen, the fact that I'm 41 years old and actually have a full-time job, I haven't had frozen food in a long, long time. But listen, of course you got to put French bread pizza up here. What's wrong with you? If you don't have it, you obviously weren't a child that was born before the year 2000. I know that, okay? Listen. French bread pizza is where it's at. If you don't know, you better ask somebody. I'm not even going to have to explain it more than that. First of all, it's pizza, and I'm a pizza addict. Next, listen, I know I'm doing it based on popularity mostly, but hey, there's so much of an icon. At some point, he's not wrong. At some point, the Hot Pockets have to be placed in there. I don't care where. Maybe they're the Teddy Roosevelt of the four. I'm not telling you quality food. I'm just telling you it's a staple and it's easy to do. By the way, keeping with the topic of pizza, something that makes every party go right when they're involved. I've never seen it go bad. Bagel bites. Give me my jam there with the bagel bites. If you don't know, you better ask somebody, and you probably do already. Okay? I miss the commercials. I don't know what happened to them, but bagel bites are still the jam. They better be on the market or I'm about to be pissed. And then lastly, I'm going to cheat here because I'm fat and I can, but I could still outrun Rodney. Frozen ice cream counts, right? I mean, what about ice cream novelties?
It's a frozen food. It's a frozen food. I'm
going to take the dump and get the ice cream novelties in there. When I say ice cream novelties, I mean Snickers ice cream bars. I mean Klondike bars. Listen, according to Family Guy, there are people out there who will literally kill a man for a Klondike bar. There's your Mount Rushmore. Klondike bars, French bread pizza, bagel bites, Hot Pockets. Boom. And I did it fast because I know we're low on time. Danny time.
All right, so listen, the Mount Rushmore of frozen foods. Kyle, I'm surprised you didn't have this one on your list because this one's probably the top of my list. You can't go wrong. You mentioned French bread pizzas and bagel bites, but where the hell are the pizza rolls? Pizza rolls are on this list.
That's a good call, Danny Thompson.
You can't go wrong with some Totino's pizza rolls. I don't care how old you are. Kyle mentioned his age on the show, and I'm not telling mine. But all I'm saying is that there's nothing better than going to the freezer at no matter what time of the day is and grabbing some pizza rolls and calling it a day. All right.
What's
So
your friend?
I'm gonna
I'm
transition.
asking you.
Listen, I'm gonna transition from and see even Bobby up in New Jersey understands the same thing. Listen, this is not exactly a food per se, but guess what? I have a 7-year-old, so this is actually for her. It is what it is. The Crustable sandwiches. Yes, the Crustable frozen peanut butter and jelly or peanut butter and grape jelly, peanut butter and strawberry sandwiches. Yes, they're on there. I've ate them plenty a couple of times. They're damn near delectable. All right. You got you let them defrost, even the way it is. It's perfectly fine. The Crustable sandwiches are freaking good. All right, it is what it is. Your point correct. You cannot go wrong with Hot Pockets. Not just the pepperoni Hot Pockets. It's a variety of Hot Pockets. It is what it is. You can go Philly cheesesteak. You can even go broccoli and cheese. You can go with the Philly. You can go with pizza. Even the meatball ones. Dag nabbit, 3 minutes in the microwave. It's good. Fourth and final one. All right, so you got all these different types of things, but guess what, Kyle? You're forgetting one thing though. Growing up, one thing is always on the list. It's freeze pops. What person doesn't like freeze pops? I'm talking about the freeze pops in the red bag with 8,000 flavors. Now, mind you, you only ate cherry, grape, and the blue flavor because by the time it was all said and done, the only thing left in there was that nasty banana yellow one that was sitting in there that she would leave in there for months.
That banana is gross. You're right. You got a point, David.
Listen, that banana freeze pop would stay in there for so long. It lasted not just seasons. It lasted years. I remember one.
The banana is what kept it off the mountain, just for the record.
Listen, here's the whole thing. It was so bad. I think I remember having one growing up. We moved, and literally that same yellow banana freeze pop moved with us from one part of North Carolina to the other one. And it stayed in the freezer for years. I would have rather drunk Robitussin straight than eat that yellow freeze pop. All right. I would have drank Tampico. If you've ever had Tampico. Tampico is the Carolina Panthers of drinks.
Oh, hey, listen, that's not fair to Tampico. I mean,
I'm sorry, Tampico. I'm sorry. All right.
Dr. Wakanda on Tampico, ladies and gentlemen.
Tampico is the Washington football team of drinks. I'm sorry, I had to upgrade them. All right, who do we got in the chat? Any Mount Rushmores in the chat tonight, Bobby? Yes, Brian, I did say Tampico.
He really did.
Listen, I was a grocery store manager in my former life. Yeah. Hey, listen, I don't know. Rodney had DiGiorno, Hot Pockets. Okay, Hot Pockets, ice cream sandwich, frozen breaded.
You know what? No, I'm going to give him points for novelty on that. Listen, he lives in the South. Okra is a lot more sensitive there. I wouldn't have picked it, but I'm not going to hate on that. Rodney has said much more foolish things tonight, even like trying to say he can run faster than me. But, you know.
Yes, just like Pabst Blue Ribbon is the Carolina Panthers of alcohol. All right, but we'll continue. All right, Kyle, any shout-outs before we go tonight?
Hey, listen, Danny dropped it. I'm going to do it here. Shout outs to everybody and anybody out there who is doing distance learning, students, teachers, faculty, staff, all alike. Thank you for all your help and support. You're helping the country move forward and keeping the children going. Of course, check out my goods on the 3-point conversion. Check out my comedy goods on Hilarity by Default. Check out my stuff on Twitter, VSOTG, Instagram, VSOTG, and of course on Facebook as the student of the game.
Yes, big shout out to our main man, Bobby Blackjack, up in New Jersey, holding down the studio for I-95, up in New Jersey, holding down the back end, and as well as all the people in the chat tonight. My main man, BPZ, Brian Paul, my man, Rodney Richardson from Under Construction. Check them out on Sundays. I was just on there, I think it was last Sunday, actually, talking with them as well, too. My main man, Cortland Griffin from the 3-point conversion as well, too. And you know what? We're missing somebody tonight. We're missing somebody. Kyle, where's our good friend? Oh, she's in the chat tonight. Actually, our good friend Precious did check in, and she did say she was.
Really quick, before I forget, 2000th episode Friday of Captain and Company in the morning. Check it out, oldschool101.com.
Yes, check out our main. Yes, check out Old School. Check out Old School 101. Also, at the same time, we want to thank everybody for checking into the show tonight. Now it's been 157 days since Breonna Taylor was murdered in her home while she was sleeping by the Louisville Police Department. Her killers have not been arrested and is still roaming free. It is time to arrest the killers who shot Breonna Taylor for no reason. It's way past time. 157 days is way too long. So for myself, the student of the game, Mr. Kyle Nash, everybody in the chat, my main man Bobby Blackjack, we'll catch you guys on Monday night, 9 p.m. for Beyond the Buzzer. Stay safe. Peace.